Anybody who knows me in real life knows that I love my IBM ThinkPad. But I recently had the pleasure of buying this ASUS Chromebook for one of my consulting customers, and now I wanted to take a quick look, a quick unboxing, what do we get, and also a little bit talk about what it's all about. This is the box which ASUS used for delivery, and as you see here, it survived the travel here by post from Austria, and also you see here before the shop also shipped it in this box. So let's see what we got inside of the little guy. Here we go. Here we go as well. Then you see here on the top it's marked ASUS. I'm going to show you this a little bit closer. You see here it's an ASUS labeled thingy. So we're going to cut into this as well. And here we've got some more glue. And then we can slowly but surely start to unpack the little bugger. And here we are again. First things first, we've got the actual laptop, which as you see here, it comes in a little sleeve. We take it out for now to take a look. That's the guy, you see, ASUS and a nice Chrome ad on top. And if we open it, we find a protective foil inside. So far all is pretty good. Here at the bottom we find some cardboard stuff. And then we see the box. It's actually pretty clean. There is a bit of the usual legalese documentation. And we've got the charger, which has a USB-C output. So basically this is it. And now it's time to start tearing into the little guy a bit more. So you see, we're opening it like this. It feels decently solid. Here we've got the keyboard, which is German, and it doesn't feel too bad. And something which I personally like, you see, the screen doesn't reflect too badly. This is kinda on the level of my IBM, but it's not as reflective as on some of the more modern machines. And nope, sadly, you can't go full tablet. This is about the maximum which you get. And now it's time to check the out-of-box experience. For this, I'm going to plug in the charger. Ram it into the machine. And now we can see, so far it doesn't do anything. And yes, this is a case of me being stupid, because we see here there's an LED, and this seems to be the charging port. So let's ram it in here. Now we see it gets red again. And now let's take a second shot at starting it up. But still nothing. So let's wait for a bit. And now we see, after a wee bit of time, the startup process commences. This is a German unit, so you see it speaks German with me. And let's get started. It says here, Los geht's. So here we log in. Now it wants to connect to a Wi-Fi, which we are going to do. And then you see here, it wants us to agree to the Euler. I'm going to do this, of course, because I'm a good boy. Now it's doing its usual update check. It's now getting itself some configuration data. Now it asks who uses it, me or a kid. I use it personally. Next. And by the way, this is a very, very fast Wi-Fi. So it's probably a delay either of the hardware or of the internet. For the login, I'm going to use my email address. Let's see what it does. And yeah, this is Google. So now I have to grab my phone and authenticate it. So here we have the phone. And now I say, yes, this is me. And as we see here, work continues. Alas, congratulations, I am logged in, so now I can click accept. I have to install Google Play. I agree to that as well. I agree. And now you see it wants me to connect to my smartphone. So yes, I accept that. The two can connect to one another. And now I click ready to go. And you see here, I am already inside of my Chromebook's desktop. It's still loading Google Assistant and preparing some other crap, but in principle, the machine is now ready to go. So yeah, I'm gonna close the Assistant because I don't need it. And now here, I have an introduction which tells me how to get started. So, and now of course, one question remains, namely the hardware. Basically, this is a pretty stock laptop. You see here a super speed USB port, a micro SD slot, one of these USB 3 thingies, and the headphone jack. And on the other side, you only have the USB 3 thingy and the USB 2 thingy. So in principle, this is more or less really a stinknormal stock laptop, but it runs Chrome OS instead of Windows or Linux. And the reason why I selected this machine rather than one of the fancy tablets was that this guy has enough power to also run some of the Linux-based payloads. And yes, interestingly, on the bottom, we see the screws, and we see these are normal Phillips screws. So you can, in theory, open the machine, but there is nothing to upgrade in there. So it's mainly just if you want to look inside, you can. And yeah, because this is an electrical engineering blog, I might just take a stab at the guy and look inside what we get. Here we see the screws are mostly very stock, standard stuff, which is great so far. Oh, and here we have something. This screw, which we see here, is a little bit shorter than the others. So this is not so nice. As you see here in the close-up, this is not so nice because this one screw in the middle is a little bit shorter. Either way, now all the screws are gone. And now we can see what ASUS have actually put inside, how difficult they make to open the case. And yeah, we see it doesn't open. So there is a set probably of additional screws below these 4 pads here. And I'm not going to tear into these now. But before we give up, let me still try this guy. And nope, we see doesn't budge. So there is either some kind of weird mechanical interlock in there, or it's additional screws below one of the stickers or something. So at this point, we have to give up and put it back together. Now we looked at it and we failed at tearing it apart, but the machine is still alive. So now the question we have to ask ourselves is, what gives? What's about the Chromebook? And that, I'll be honest, is the question which I can't quite answer for myself and where I would maybe like to have your feedback. Because, yes, okay, this guy is almost immune to viruses. So maybe I could give it to somebody like my father, who basically does nothing except trade stocks, read the news and watch porn. But the problem with that is, for trading stocks, he needs some kind of Java applet application, and this I can run more safely on an IBM, like this guy, on which I can also install a Linux-like operating system. So this argument, this is for the technologically impaired, doesn't pull. Another argument which you might want to bring is that this is a companion for the phone. Yes, maybe this is a valid argument, but this kind of argument and idea has been tried in the past. Palm did it with the Folio, which failed miserably. Celio did it with the Red Fly, which failed equally miserably. And finally, the big problem is that Google is in an even worse position because the Chromebook and the Android phone here, they already share an ecosystem. So in principle, I can just use my workstation to access most, okay, not all message and stuff, but most of the data on the phone. So another argument against the Chromebook, why should I buy the Chromebook if I can just as well buy the IBM? So from my point of view, in many ways, the Chromebook, I mean, I'm using it for consulting, so obviously I have a work to do with it. But for an individual customer, I feel it's a product which is looking for a use. It's like a daughter looking for a mother, as we say in Austria. So with that, that was my impression of the C423N. It's beautifully built hardware. If it would run Linux, I would love it. And well, let's see where the journey takes us. Thank you very much for watching and see you soon. Bye bye.